It's thebarlive.com, PMS, the Pugs Moran Show for a Friday afternoon, a hot, sweltering Friday afternoon here in beautiful North Dallas, as we broadcast live from the Sunbrew Summer Beach House here in sunny North Texas, North Dallas, Texas. Again, my in-room thermometer telling me the outside temperature says that it is 90 degrees right now. 90 degrees at 12:03, and I call bullshit on that.
I think it's 90 degrees in here.
Yeah, that's what I think it might be. Might be 90 degrees in here. Yeah, can we put the air on or something?
Yeah.
How is it usually? It's really, really hot.
Yeah.
Typically, I don't like the fans and all that stuff in here for the noise issues, but yeah, we gotta do something in here. It is ridiculous. That's right. The third day in a row I've stepped in here and my first words out of my mouth were complaining about the weather.
It just comes so naturally.
Oh, it does. It's awful. I've also got another problem, Jimmy. So I've told you about my friends who live next door to me, the real American heroes.
Right.
Real. Do you know what I found out?
What's that?
One of these dudes, okay, I've told you about these guys. All right, so there's these dudes that live next door to me. They, it's a corporate apartment. It's leased through the United States government. They work over at Love Field. They are what's called the strike team over at Love Field. Should a plane be hijacked and on the tarmac at Love Field, or should there be a bomb scare or a terrorist decide to, do something at Love Field? These are not the first responders, because they're not the airport police or airport security.
Right.
These guys are the hammer. This is the United States of America's hammer in dealing with these kinds of situations. Every single one of them, actually that's not true. One of them's a Navy SEAL. The rest of them are Rangers.
Man.
And all of them are black belts. Every single one of them is a black belt in either some form of jiu-jitsu or judo or something crazy. Another one of them, the one guy who I've talked about before, he was, it turns out, Southern California Golden Gloves boxing champion back in 2002.
I would almost have to move. I don't need that constant reminder of how unmanly I am.
He's a white guy.
Yeah. Oh, what, boxer?
In Southern California.
Wow.
He won the Golden Gloves as a white kid from Van Nuys, which is where he's from. A white kid from Van Nuys. Hey, come on. I mean, you think Golden Gloves, LA County Golden Gloves, you're thinking a lot of really tough Mexican boxers.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mexicans, they take boxing really serious, and he won that. Turns out another one was a Rhodes Scholar.
Wow.
I can't get enough of this. I just can't handle this enough. I can't. I mean, it's like these guys. They're my buddies, and they're not listening right now because they're all out on. Apparently, there's something going on over at Love Field this weekend, like some kind of little mini air show or something. Or maybe it's not even a public thing. Maybe it's just like maneuvers.
I thought you were giving out like classified information. By the way, there's something going on in Love Field. All of a sudden, we find out that there's like a hijacking planned.
No. Well, no, but maybe it's something like that. I wasn't really listening. They were talking about it, and it was like, eh. But maybe I think it might be like a simulated takedown of an airplane or something.
Oh, I can't wait for this to be the footage that they show on CNN where we broke the news. You unknowingly told everybody.
Yeah, no, it's yeah. The government did know about 9/11. No, because it was last night. I was over there. I was sitting in their kitchen. And they were packing up all their rucksacks and all that stuff. And I'm like, what's going on? Game time, boys? What's happening? We going to war?
Yeah.
They're getting all their stuff on. And they're like, no, we got this SC-21 details tomorrow. All these military terms. I'm like, I don't know what any of that means. He goes, well, basically what it means is we got to sleep in the grass on the runways at Love Field for the next 2 days.
Wow.
So it's like they're all in camo. And they're all like around the perimeter. You're not going to see, if you're driving around Love Field, there are going to be dudes like fully armed, weaponized snipers and all of that in the ground. Don't screw around. Don't screw around this weekend. It's some kind of an exercise. But because of that, they have to go stay out there. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, it's going to be like 104 degrees. And they're like, yeah, we know.
Oh.
Yeah, we know.
I bet you they were just really happy that you were able to remind them.
Well, they totally scoreboard me. They totally scoreboarded me because apparently one of them lived in a desert in freaking Iraq or somewhere for like 90 days where it was like 120 degrees every single day. And they wore those heavy camo things. I mean, it's awful.
Unreal.
Yeah. They were telling me how much weight they lose. Like, it's like the greatest way to cut weight. Like, if you were going to like get married and you want to look good in your tux, you should go out on one of those things.
Just roll around in Afghanistan.
For like a week. Yeah, for like a week and just, kind of do what they do. But here's the problem. So I was just complaining. I was complaining about everything. That's what I do. I go over there and I complain because these guys are like.
I love that these manly men, they're all doing these unbelievable things. They have a friend named Pugs who comes over and complains.
They like me, though. They think I'm funny. I make them laugh, Yeah. I make them laugh, and they like me, and, So, at any rate. Oh, and one of them's moving. I'm so mad. Anyway, so I was talking about how stressed out I was, and, bills, and oh, my God, now my car is, like, all jacked up. Oh, here's the other thing, manly freaking men, right? Uh-huh. So I got a problem with my car where it's overheating and I can't drive it, and it's gonna be a ridiculous expense, and I can't do this anymore, Jimmy.
Are these guys rolling around in Love Field right now as you go on to complain?
Right now, as I complain about my car overheating. Right, these guys. One who, when he's completely out of the military, is gonna have to have his leg completely regrafted and redone because right now it looks like someone went over it with an atomic cheese grater.
Oh, man.
I know. This is the difference between me and what a real man does. So I'm complaining about this, and one of the guys puts this prescription bottle right in front of me. And all he says is, military grade, buddy. And he walks away. And I look at it, and I'm like, what is this? I didn't recognize the name. I couldn't even tell you what the name is. He goes, man, just go ahead, take a couple, take 3, take their and he opens it up and he just puts a whole bunch down there. He gave me like 6. He goes, just go ahead, take those, go sit on the couch. Don't worry about the world, my friend. Don't worry about. Apparently, these are things. These are like inhibitors, like stress relievers and inhibitors. That some of these. This is not something that everybody does, but some of these warriors will just pop a whole bunch of them before they go into a village, because. If you're in a firefight and you think twice about pulling the trigger because, oh, my God, what if that's a kid? Or, oh, my God, what if that's an innocent? You die. Yeah. You die. You are in the firefight. You are there to not get shot. And apparently they honestly, I don't know if I'm talking about this right. Whatever, it's a podcast, nobody's going to get in trouble.
Or, again, if you're supposed to be talking about it.
But, yeah, they pop these things and then they get totally, chilled out. And then they pap, 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 pap. They go to war.
This really is it couldn't be scripted better. Their complaining friend goes on to do a podcast where he tells all of their intelligence that they're not supposed to be putting out.
I don't think I've said anything that
inhibitor pills.
In fact, I've even said, do you mind if I talk about this stuff? They go, no. Talk about whatever you want. And then one of them said, you talk about whatever you want, dude. And then he looked me straight in the eye and he goes, understand this. You don't know shit about what we really do. And I go, okay, all right. So fine. We'll leave it at that. Because this little stuff that you think is fine for public consumption, that's good for me. Yeah. These are good stories.
Yeah, these are fun.
Well, they're always scoreboarding me like that. You don't want to see what I've seen, kid. Says a guy who's 7 years younger than me. I'm like, are you 30? Are you? What do you mean? What I'm saying? I'm sure you've seen. I've seen some shit, man. I go, yeah, I know you have. All right.
Oh man.
So they gave me these pills. I think they said they were like Ativan, some kind of like an Ativan, Xanax kind of hybrid cocktail kind of a thing. Real kind of small, not too small, not like a little 5 millimeter pill or something, but kind of small, like the size of an aspirin, and just white and nondescript. And they look like they're military grade, like they were made so that they can be untraceable, all that stuff. Wow. So while they were heading out, they headed out last night at like 9:30, and I gotta walk their dog. That's my job for the weekend. So they headed out at like 9:30, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try one of these. So I take one, right, and I've taken Xanax before, and I'm like, Okay, this is pretty good. All right. I'm kind of liking this. I'm sure it can't get any more than this, so I better take another. So, so I take 2 more.
Yeah.
I ended up taking like 5. I ended up taking like 5 of these things.
Wow.
They were fantastic. I don't know how I'm going to pay rent. And last night, I didn't care. I don't know how I'm going to get my car fixed. And last night, I don't care.
And your reflexes were spectacular.
Dude, here's the problem. This is why I'm bringing this up. You're going to hear me slurring my words. I am still completely chilled out. Totally chilled out. My tongue seems like it's way too big for my mouth.
Yeah.
Mouth. See, it's like mouth. My tongue. Too big for my mouth. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I would shoot you dead in a heartbeat. Just give me an excuse.
Those cat-like reflexes.
I love these guys. I don't want to move. I do not want to move. I may have to.
You're the safest man in DFW.
I am the safest man in DFW. And one of them has like basically let me know that. Because we share a wall. They're like, dude, nothing can ever happen to you. There's nothing. Somebody comes to your door you don't want, you go in the other room, you bang on my wall. You just go boom, boom, boom on the wall. I know what that means. I'll come out.
That's awesome, man.
And like he'll come out loaded. You know, he'll come out like a machine gun in his hand. Can I help you? Oh, and you know what else? Their other buddy. Do you remember I told you the story a couple of months ago? You don't remember when it was happening, but I think I told you a story about when I had to go to Homeland Security because I'd seen some things on the roof and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, those were the guys that helped me. There was another guy, a listener of ours, a really good dude. Oh my God, his name escapes me. He helped me as well. But these guys actually took me over there and introduced me to the right people, and we got all that stuff done. And he said something to me. I go, but what if it's the cops? What if like the cops are here? Then what are you gonna do? Not that I do anything that would get the cops, but I was just trying to see like how tough he thought he would be. And he goes, "Oh no, we have jurisdiction over you." And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, You are a witness in an ongoing investigation with Homeland Security. No one can come here and arrest you if we're here. We'll simply say, we have jurisdiction over this witness. Wow. And I'm like, are you kidding me? He goes, yeah, you filled out the paperwork, right? He goes, yeah, you are an active witness in an ongoing investigation. I'm like, that is awesome. You mean if a Dallas cop tried to come to my front door and arrest me, you guys could get involved? You guys could get involved and say you can't arrest him? And then they'd show their badges, and then they would explain, the situation. I'm a witness.
This is
and it's
awesome.
like, and I'm a witness in like an ongoing investigation of potential terror threats against Love Field. That's big. Even though it's probably nothing. I've heard nothing about it in 6 months, but maybe it is something, you know? And it's like, so I'm kind of, fuck you, man. I'm untouchable.
I love that that's what you're saying to the cop, but maybe it is something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. No, they're really good guys. You know what?
Sound like it.
I keep trying to get him to come on. One of the guys I want to get to come on here, because one of the guys really funny. He's the Rhodes Scholar. He's really funny. And he's really mean to the rest of them. Like really.
Yeah.
They're like all guys when they hang out. They pick on each other mercilessly. But I want to get him up here, and he will not come on.
Could we do like one of those shadow boxes where he talks from behind there with like a muffled voice?
You know what he wants? You know what his deal is? He's a really good dude, but he's one of these guys that is like bucking for at some point in his career to be the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. You know, he wants to be a general. He wants all of this stuff. I mean, he's already a major, and he wants all of he wants the career where he's got all the stripes and everything. So now he ain't gonna do anything like that. He won't. He would be great if he would though.
Yeah.
Sitting around having beers with him, he's awesome. I'd love to slide a microphone and have him start telling stories because he tells some stories.
Man, I bet.
Yeah, it ain't what we see on the news going on over there, folks. It's a lot more detailed and a lot more bloody, I guess. Bloody and scary, frightening. How are you? What'd you do last night? Anything good?
I went to see Brad and ended up actually, Paco ended up opening up for him. Or there were a few openers, and then Paco came up, and then Brad. It was awesome, man. It actually ended up being pretty cool. I haven't been to the Dallas Comedy House in Deep Ellum, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, this was Dallas Comedy. It was last night. It was headlined by Brad LaCour, Dallas's own Brad LaCour.
Yeah, it was strong, and he had a lot of new material. I hadn't seen him in like a couple of years, so That was pretty cool.
Brad, the after-dinner liqueur.
Yeah. Oh, and
That
then
should be his nickname.
there was this other moment though that was really funny because I was there with Matt Rayford from the show, and he basically ended up coming up to me and he was like, "Hey, man." Because Brad's been like kind of mysterious about this girl that he's been seeing, right? Like he hasn't been wanting to talk too much about it, but you can tell that he's happy, which is almost weird when Brad's happy.
Right.
So all of a sudden Matt goes up to him and goes, "Hey man, is your girlfriend here?" Just kind of joking. And there was this really cute girl that was like right behind him. He was like, "Yeah, come on over." And I was like, "Oh, of course. That's why Brad's happy. Like he's got a smoking hot girlfriend."
Brad does?
Yeah.
Since when?
I don't know. It's been like I think maybe like a month.
All right.
Yeah.
Good for Brad.
I was so happy for him. But
He's
then
not going to hold on to it. He's going to ruin it somehow. Could you imagine being around? Brad's a pretty miserable guy. He's an immensely talented stand-up comic. I mean, I would wait in line to see him just about anywhere. But he's a miserable guy. He's angry, you know? So I think personally, I really like Brad, and I think I had a good relationship with Brad, but I would not be surprised if I learned that he hated my guts for some reason. I have no reason why that would be, but
I still feel the same way. I think that there's there's definitely something about
he lacks warmth. He lacks warmth. Here's the thing. He lacks warmth. Brad LaCour, one of Dallas's absolutely best stand-up comics. You must see him if you see him on a bill somewhere. He's hysterically funny. The only person he shows any warmth at all to is Paco. It seems like Paco is the only one that Brad LaCour considers an equal or someone that's on his level, which is great. I think that's fine.
They do incredibly well together. It's a good kind of tag team.
Yeah, there's another guy though that needs to be involved in that mix, and he's just not doing it. And it sucks. Do you remember a guy that used to participate on our show called Will the Blogger?
Yeah.
Will and Paco, these guys used to do tag team writing assignments together. Mm-hmm. And, I'm a writer. That was what that's what I really wanted to do. In my spare time, my hobby is that I just sit and write. That's why I was so freaked out when this damn new computer I had didn't have a Microsoft Word processor.
Yeah.
It's like, how am I going to do my writing? But you hit me to Google Drive, and now it's even better. But these two guys, man, they're just the two funniest writers ever, and I would love to see them get together and write comedy.
Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine it'd be great. I've actually seen a lot of Will's posts
have you?
on Facebook, and they're
Will,
really funny.
Will Brooks is his name, and he is another incredibly talented guy. There's so many people. Paul McCartney was once asked if the Beatles were the greatest band in the world, and Paul McCartney said, "No, probably not." And she said, "Well, who is the greatest band in the world?" And he said, "Well, I really don't know. The greatest band in the world is probably slugging it out at some roadside bar right now for $50 a night because they never got a break and nobody ever heard them."
Yep.
And he's absolutely right. And that's how I feel about guys like Brad and Paco and Will. Like, why aren't these guys out in Hollywood making movies? Why aren't they writing, The Watch or whatever the hell these, any of these movies that are coming out now? They could do every bit as good a job as any of these guys.
Yeah. I think that the most important thing that you can do is what they're, doing right now is just keeping it going. Because it's inevitable at some point.
Can't give up. They can't give up. They're too good to give up. All three of them are too good to give up.
Yeah, and if there's like a big bill coming in, like I remember Doug Stanhope came in and had Brad open up for him. Those things are huge, man. When you get like that Doug Stanhope crowd in, and then that goes so well with Brad's show, like that helped out a lot. So like as more shows come in and he keeps on booking them, like I think that's inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, what did you end up doing last night? I don't remember what I did last night because remember I took like 6 of those pills, so I have no idea what's going on.
Basically just ended up going to that show and then came back, ended up watching a little bit of TV because you hit me to some new shows that were starting.
Yes, last night the big lineup on FX, the return of Louis, Wilfred, and Brand X, not to mention the debut of the new Charlie Sheen show, Anger Management. Yeah,
I didn't see the Charlie Sheen show. I'm probably going to end up going at least seeing that. Didn't see Wilfred, but I did see the Brand or the X experiment. Isn't that what they're calling it? Brand X. Brand X
is what it's called, yeah.
But I maybe I'm calling it an experiment because that's what it should have stayed as because it just didn't work.
It didn't work? You didn't like it?
No, I mean like it's basically stand-up comedy because he has to go up there for 30 minutes and just talk. he has a guy that sits on a desk who's American, and I'm sure that turned into something where like they bounced off of each other or something, but I just couldn't get through it. I mean, like when
there's even a desk set?
No, it's not. He never sits down. He's always kind of moving around. And then there's a guy who sits in like what looks like a school desk right there, who's an American from Harvard, I believe. And like that's basically the show.
Does he interact with him?
He talks with him, I'm sure.
Is that your phone or my phone?
Much. That's mine.
Okay, I don't know where mine is.
Yeah, but it just didn't work. I watched probably 5 to like 8 minutes of it and just gave up on it. So maybe it got really great in the last 20 minutes, but then I looked at Twitter, and I always use that to kind of reaffirm what I already thought, and sure enough, everybody was saying it was awful.
Okay,
yeah.
That's too bad. But I'll give it another chance because I do like Russell Brand.
I do too.
The first show of anything new where you're trying to do something that's a bit different, you got to give it 2-3 shows. Then make up. You got to let them get their stride.
Yeah.
Do you remember? You're probably too young to remember when Conan O'Brien came on the air.
Yeah.
I wasn't, because one of my producers that I worked with in Chicago had taken a job with this new NBC show that was replacing Letterman called Conan O'Brien. Nobody had heard of him. We didn't know who he was. Oh, some guy who wrote for The Simpsons? Okay, that sounds good. But my friend Brian McCann ended up leaving the radio show and going to New York and becoming a staff writer on the Conan O'Brien show. And dude, for the first year it was NBC's biggest mistake. Nobody likes this guy. Worst talk show in the history of late night television. Calling Chevy Chase, please come back and replace this guy. Wow. I mean, it was stuff like that. Because that's what we do. We like to beat the crap out of anybody that's new. But what happened with Conan O'Brien? The younger people, the college-aged kids, not the people who write for the New York Times or Entertainment Weekly, guys in their 40s and 30s, not those people, the people who actually count, the kids who were staying up late, past 11:30 at night to watch this new late-night talk show. They loved it, they embraced it, and they fueled it to where it went eventually, which is one of the best late-night shows of all time. That 11:30 on NBC version of Conan O'Brien, before all of this mess with Tonight Show and moving to TBS, that was, without a doubt, one of the most creative and most interesting comedy talk shows I've ever seen. And I'm not just saying that because my friend is a writer there still. He's been there the whole career. But I appreciate that show. And nobody liked it in the beginning. So with Brand X, give it a break.
Yeah.
Give it a little break. Craig Ferguson was another one. Craig Ferguson got hammered by everybody when he first replaced Tom Snyder. They hated it. They couldn't. Or was it Tom Snyder or was it Craig Kilborn? I don't know. Either way, they hated the show. He wasn't going to last 6 months. And you know what? He's been on the air now for a couple of years. And I really don't know what the critics say about Craig Kilborn. I've never looked into it. But I will tell you, everybody that I know that I deem hip or cool or someone with good taste in entertainment, they all love Craig Ferguson. They all say, you know what, that guy does a really good show. And he does. People don't like it because it's unfamiliar, because he's not doing a familiar talk show. He's doing weird things with the camera, and he's being innovative, and he's interesting. And his style of interviewing is foreign to us because he's Scottish, because he's using a little bit of that Scottish-British sense of humor with people. And some people find it off-putting or unfamiliar. Other people find it new, interesting, and exciting. I'm one of those people that find it new, interesting, and exciting. Craig Ferguson is great. And I'm telling you, if Arsenio Hall's new show knocks Craig Ferguson off the air, what an amazingly bad step backward that would be.
I think that there's a lot to be said about just the timing of when your show comes on, too. I mean, like, for instance, like Opie and Anthony, I really dug it when they did, like, the afternoon show. And then when they went to mornings, it felt a little weird. You know what I mean?
Was that maybe because you were used to it? So I was used to them originally as a morning show.
Yeah,
and then they went to afternoons.
Yeah. But I mean, like, it seemed like that's when they really started getting like a huge audience, though, was in the afternoons. Am I wrong about that? Were they bigger in the mornings or the afternoons?
They were huge in Boston and Philly and somewhere else in mornings.
Oh, in mornings.
Every market except their home market. Their home market was New York because they wouldn't get syndicated to New York because of Howard. They were also under contract to CBS, and Howard was under contract to CBS. And there was a deal that CBS wasn't going to put this upstart show that was going to challenge Howard in Howard's backyard. So what ended up happening was syndicated occasion in mornings for them really took off, and they went, well, look, we can't be successful without having a New York clearance. So what ended up happening with Opie and Anthony was CBS said, let's move you to afternoons. We compromised with Howard. You're not going to be against him. We'll put you in afternoons, and all your other affiliates will pick you up in afternoons, and that's how it started.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because the original plan for the CBS FM talkers was supposed to be Howard Stern in mornings and Opie and Anthony in afternoons.
Yeah.
Everywhere, coast to coast, from New York. But so that's that. Also, Ron and Fez was the other group. Ron and Fez was the midday show that was supposed to be the midday show. CBS wanted an entirely New York-based national lineup of FM talk shows Monday through Friday.
That would have been kind of strong, though. I mean, those are good. But I also don't.
Yeah,
mind
I would have
New
had no
York
career.
style
We wouldn't have had to put up with Russ Martin. There are goods and there's bads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that there was something really special about Leno having.
And anyway,
older...
just let me stop you here.
Yeah.
After doing that experiment for a number of years and having great success in afternoons with CBS in New York, it was proven beyond a doubt that it didn't matter if they were on at the same time. You could not have Opie and Anthony and Howard Stern in that close proximity.
Yeah.
They just didn't get along. I never forget sitting in Opie's backyard. He's got a backyard. He lives across the street from Central Park in New York in one of these beautiful old brownstones. And he's actually got a backyard with a freaking tree in the backyard.
Wow.
I mean, it's crazy.
It's hard to come across in New York, like in that area.
Really hard to come across.
Yeah.
And his apartment was cool, but probably about the size of this room we're in now, the kitchen, and maybe that next room. And it probably cost $5-6 million.
Yeah.
Because of the Central Park location. But here's the cool thing about the apartment. It wasn't spread out like that. It went up. There were like 4 different levels of steps, and each floor had something. And on the bottom floor was sort of like a bar with a sliding glass door, and then there was a backyard with a tree and a picnic table.
Nice.
So we're sitting in Opie's backyard, and we're having a couple of drinks. And he said, you want to know something really, really creepy? And I'm like, what? And he goes, see that building right there? There's this big, giant building that overlooks where he is. He's in like a brownstone, and then there's this giant New York beautiful skyscraper that's like just on the next block. And it's all the way up there. And he goes, point all the way up there. That's where Howard lives. And I'm like, really? I was like, does he know you live here? He goes, he knows I live here. He has binoculars. He has a telescope. He's obsessed with me. I mean, they really loved kind of tweaking Howard.
Yeah.
And they're the only other show in America, I think, that is comfortable with that. I mean, they wanted Howard to fight back, and Howard never fought back.
Well, yeah, unless it was behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, he fought back. He fought back with Karmazon and all that. But Howard knew they were good. And now I understand they're okay. Now, because they're both, I think, on Sirius XM, and they've buried the hatchet and all that. But what they were doing was CBS was daddy, and these were the 2 sons, the 3 sons, Opie, Anthony, and Howard, and they were vying for daddy's attention, and it just got very complicated.
Yeah,
and it was weird for Kelly and I because we were friends with both of those groups. It was like and at the time when we were with there was no being friends with Howard Stern. If you had said you were friends with Howard Stern, you were out. Fuck out of my house. Seriously, I don't need this. I got enough friends. I don't need people here who are going to try and tell me the guy did this, the guy did that. I mean, talking about stuff behind the scenes, Yeah, well, whatever. Competition is competition.
I can understand.
I love both of them. I think they are the 2 absolute best FM talkers going. All right. Here's what we're going to need to do, Jimmy. Let's take a quick break here. We'll come back. We'll run through a couple of things. As I said, we've got a shortened show. Today, probably going to get out of here in about an hour. No, probably about a half hour. I'm sorry. Like 1 o'clock, 1:15, something like that. I've got to go try and round up some money so we can save this, so I can save me, try and get my car fixed. All right, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to come back, throw out a couple of topics. We'll have a little conversation. We'll try and get you through your Friday afternoon. Back after this. It's thebarlive.com. It's the barlive.com PMX, the Pugs Moran show for a Friday afternoon here live at the Sunbrew Studios in beautiful, sunny Dallas, Texas. Couple of things. Jimmy, question, does it make me a Fruit Loop to want to go see this Magic Mike movie?
Magic Mike. Which one is this?
Freaking useless.
Magic Mike. Is this
Magic
NBA?
Mike is the male stripper movie that's out right now.
Ah, is this the one where Matthew McConaughey points down and says something during one of the previews? I've seen this in a bar.
Yes, Matthew McConaughey is in it. Channing Tatum is in it.
Okay.
The guy who plays Al Cid from True Blood, if you watch that show, he's in it.
Yeah.
I don't know who else is in it. I think there's chicks in it, but it's crazy. Maybe it does make me a Fruit Loop that I can't even tell you any of the chicks that are in it.
Is it a comedy?
Yes, it looks funny, but it also looks like a good story.
Yeah.
It looks like the story of a young guy who's basically decided that he's going to start working in a male strip club for all these crazy soccer moms and bachelorette parties to make enough money so that he can start this business, this furniture building business. And he meets a girl and he likes her, and he has to figure, is he going to stop doing this? Is it time to really become? It just looks like a really good story. It looks like an interesting story, like somebody. Yeah. And the actors in it, I like. I love. I love McConaughey.
Yeah, I can't say that anything that Matthew McConaughey's in that I wouldn't like.
He's hysterical.
Yeah.
And I really like Channing Tatum. I think Channing Tatum is awesome too. And you don't even know who he is, though.
No, I thought it was a girl, and again, this time I was thinking it was a girl. So
Channing Tatum is one of these dudes that I would totally not like, except I accidentally saw him in a Robert Downey Jr. movie. Mm-hmm. Robert Downey Jr. did this indie film a couple of years back called A Guide to Knowing Your Saints, and it's a true story about a guy who grows up in Brooklyn and all the trouble he gets into as a teenager and his friends and what a bunch of thugs they were, car thieves and all this stuff. And he grows up to become a fairly famous novelist and writer and screenwriter. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the person. But Robert Downey Jr. plays that person as an adult telling the story of his life. And Channing Tatum plays his buddy that he grew up with. I think it's like Shia LaBeouf or something, plays the young Robert Downey Jr., and Channing Tatum plays his best friend, and he's always getting into trouble. He's always starting fights, and he's like the guy who protects all the other weaker kids in the group. And I just saw that movie, and I'd never heard of freaking Channing Tatum before. And I'm like, that guy's good. I love that guy's character. I love that. And now he's like Mr. Sexy Ryan Gosling that all the ladies like. And I'm okay with it because I saw him do something in a small indie film that he carried the whole film. Carried it with people like Robert Downey Jr., who's a great actor.
There are certain actors that can be really attractive, get all the girls, and still somehow carry guys as well out to a theater. Matthew McConaughey is definitely one of them. It's just people that are that also happen to be funny. I'll always think of different lines that Matthew McConaughey's had that will make him funny no matter how weird of a movie I find myself watching of him.
Like what?
I don't know. Definitely Dazed. Was it Dazed and Confused that he was in? Or which one was it?
Yeah, he was in Dazed and Confused.
Yeah.
That's the all right.
Yeah, I always get that one confused with one of the other movies. But I used to watch that all the time. So every single time that Matthew McConaughey comes out looking a little bit more naked than I would like to see him, I'll just think he's the all right guy. So it's cool.
Huh. So I can't find...
I'm not sure that would work if Matthew McConaughey was to grab my junk during a massage, John Travolta style, but... it would work through a movie.
You know who else I had this experience with? And maybe I do have a slight gay streak in me. Maybe I'm just picking out hot-looking dudes before they're famous and going, I'm going to watch that guy because I think he's going to be a good actor. Maybe it's not because he's a good actor. Maybe it's just because something inside of me thinks he's a hot dude. Hey, man, I'm open. I'm open to anything, really. Although I'm pretty sure I'm heterosexual.
Yeah.
But,
And Leonardo DiCaprio is another one of these guys. He's not necessarily funny, but he's such a damn good actor.
Yeah.
That even though I grew up with girls having Leonardo DiCaprio things in their lockers, and it was always kind of annoying with their Jonathan Taylor Thomas ones.
Yeah, but that was before he got good. My version of that was Johnny Depp. When Johnny Depp was on 21 Jump Street, and when all the girls, he's Tiger Beat, he's so cute. Yeah, it was kind of like, I hate that guy, I hate that guy, I hate that guy. And then 15, 20 years later, he's making one kick-ass movie after another.
Right.
He's not quite as pretty anymore. And I'm going, yeah, all right, now I feel comfortable in saying that I am a Johnny Depp fan.
Yeah, this guy's kick-ass.
But even that name, Johnny Depp, it just sounds like it was made for Tiger Beat or some kind of,
It does.
Mm-hmm. All right, here, I'm going to try and pull up this film because I'd love for you to see this movie. I just was so blown away by it. It was such a great movie. It's called A Guide to Knowing Your Saints. I can't really find it here. Actually, what I want to know is I want to find out who exactly the writer was. There it is. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm saying it wrong. It's A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints. Here's the story. Okay, you ready? I'm going to give it to you. This came out in 2006. It says, A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints. It's a 2006 film based on a 2001 memoir of the same name by author and musician Dito Montel, which describes his youth in Astoria, New York during the 1980s. Montel wrote and directed the film adaptation, which was released in the United States as a plot. Dito Montel, Robert Downey Jr., is a successful writer in Los Angeles. One day after being urged by his mother, Diane Wiest, and his friend, Scott Campbell, Dito visits his childhood home in Astoria, New York, before his father has suddenly become very ill. The film switches back and forth between the present and flashbacks with Dito's memories in the summer of 1986. Dito meets Nerf and talks with him in a parked car where they can talk undisturbed, which would not have been possible at Nerf's house. Dito then visits Lori, Rosario Dawson. All right, anyway, I don't know. I don't want to read the whole thing to you. But it's a really good movie, and it's, because he goes back home, and he's a successful writer, but all of his boys, they're all still criminals,
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm looking at this this link that you gave of this Tom Cruise, Katie Holmes thing.
Yeah. We're not into that yet, though.
Yeah. All right. Well, once we get there.
Oh, we're going to get into there. All right, but that's a movie pick to click for you guys tonight. It's called A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints. Here you go. Here's the cast list. These are all good people. Robert Downey Jr., Shia LaBeouf, Rosario Dawson, Eric Roberts, Channing Tatum, Chaz Palminteri, Diane Wiest.
Rosario Dawson is really hot, too.
Yeah. You know what? We were at a bar, a club, a private show in Beverly Hills one year, and Rosario Dawson was there with her girlfriend.
Oh, she's lesbian?
I didn't know that either. And I don't even know if she's public, but she sure was that night. She was absolutely lesbian that night. Holding hands, sitting on her lap, kissing, publicly. I mean, very publicly, although it was a private party at this thing.
This always makes me so sad when I find this out.
Well, why? Why?
Just because.
I thought I was very turned on by it. I thought it made her even sexier.
Yeah, and I guess if you're like being realistic, you weren't going to be hooking up with Rosario Dawson that night. So I mean, I guess you should be able to just find it attractive. But it just, in the off chance that all of a sudden, like that everything worked out, that can't happen because she's not really into that.
Let's see if it says she's gay or not. Let's see. Personal life. I just went to Rosario Dawson's Wikipedia page. No, she says she dated dudes. Dated some dude that was a writer on Sex and the City. Let's see here. Let's see here.
The ones that go back and forth, I have a theory that most of those are people that are just getting fed up with guys.
Her big charity is Families and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. StayClose.com. PFLAG. Yeah, she's definitely involved in a lot of gay causes. Yeah. So who knows? Let me see here. All right, never mind. It doesn't matter. We don't need to confirm. I don't need to confirm it. I was there. If you believe me, you believe me. I was there.
Unfortunately.
Richard Hunter, he can confirm it as well. Mike Turley, he could confirm it as well. My ex-wife Jess could confirm it as well. Yeah, so there you go. There you have it. Rosario Dawson.
Well, damn.
All right. A couple of celebrity things that we should touch on here before we scoot out for the day. Again, I'm sorry, a very short show today. My bad. Let's just do a little bit of audio here. Can you crank this up?
Yeah.
We got Alec Baldwin was in the news last week for accosting photographers, and he's back at it again today. But this is kind of cool, Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin was walking into his apartment building in Manhattan, and one of his neighbors was walking out the same time he was walking in. And one of his neighbors put her hand up to one of these photographers that was stalking Alec Baldwin. And she said, "Get out of here. Get out in front of my house." And he goes, like, "We need to take pictures of you." You know, like that whole thing. And Alec Baldwin, the gentleman that he is, was forced to get involved. He saw this woman getting into this thing with this photographer who was only there for him. You know, she was just an innocent bystander. So Alec Baldwin then had to get involved in this, I think doing the gentlemanly thing here. So let's give this a listen, okay? This is from earlier today. Crank it. I don't know how much we can hear it.
You don't even know this guy.
But you're in front of my building.
I want you out of here. What? What's your problem? I know you got raped by a priest. Leave it. Are you going to grab me? All right. Wait. It's cool. Yeah.
Just leave him alone, all right?
Squeezing my arm.
He's going to go.
It's my neighbor. You're breaking my arm.
He's going to go.
Bro, stop. All we're doing is taking your picture. I want you to shut the up. All right. Get out of here. I want you to get out of here. I'm not doing that, man. Leave my neighbor alone. Bro, I was just telling you to have a good wedding. Shut up. Shut up. Leave my neighbor alone, okay? Did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said? I'm hearing it. I'm hearing it. Little girl. Thanks a lot, Ed.
Did you hear his last shot? Yeah. He's towering. Alec Baldwin's a big guy, and he's towering over this shorter, nerdy photographer. Yeah. He goes, "Did you hear what I said?" And he goes, Yeah, I did. And Alec Baldwin just looked at him, glared at him in the eye, and said, "You little girl," and walked away. Yes. Granted, full disclosure, I like Alec Baldwin, okay? Yeah. I think I'm entertained endlessly by him. But in this one, you know, he was doing the right thing. I think he was doing the thing that any decent gentleman would do if in the same situation. His neighbor was being harassed.
Yeah.
Basically, she's walking out of her building, and he's walking in, and the photographers are trying to get a picture of him. So it's like they're shoving his neighbor out of the way to get a picture. And you heard her dog go, bark, 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 like start barking like that.
Right.
That's because they almost stepped on the dog. And she's like, "What are you doing? This is in front of my building. Get out of here. Get out. We're just trying to take pictures of him." And she's like, "You don't even know him. You don't even know." And that's when Alec Baldwin went, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And he pushed her away. He grabbed the guy by the arm, walked him off the property, stepped into the street, and walked him over to his van, which was parked across the street. And he was holding his arm, like sort of leading him with his elbow. And this guy, his response, if you can hear it, "Ow, you're breaking my arm. Yeah. Ow, you're breaking my arm." And he was just like, "You little girl. You little girl."
This is why I'll never respect these people, and I'll always be on the side of the people that attack paparazzi.
They're parasites. They're maggots. They're vultures.
Yeah. So anything that you do, I think that paparazzi, part of the job description is you can't sue no matter what. You can't sue. Nothing that happens here, and you're definitely intruding on their lives, so rules should be off. You should be able to punch a paparazzi person who's jumping out in front of you and taking a picture.
Well, what we need to do, and this will happen in the next few years, I know that there's a lot of other things that we need to fix first, but we need to readdress the privacy rules. We need to readjust what is public, what is allowed to be filmed, because now everybody has cameras. Everybody can gangbang a celebrity anywhere they are. And not even just a celebrity. I mean, it can happen to just a regular person. If someone decides they want to stalk you with cameras, they can do. We need to address that because there really are no boundaries.
Yeah, but it's all over. It's done already. These Google glasses that they're showing off, they're going to be coming out next year.
Yeah, I saw a thing on that. You were telling me about it yesterday during the day, and I saw that last night on the news.
Yeah, you're going to have glasses on all the time that are always recording. It can always be streaming it to the internet. So, at this point, it's going to be 2 years before it's in your contacts.
Sergey Brin, the founder of Google, who was emceeing this big Google tech party that they did yesterday, he said something very interesting. And this is how geniuses think. This is how things get better. They asked him, where did the idea for this come from? And Sergey Brin said, I was sitting in a coffee shop and I was looking around and just observing people and observing their behavior and observing what they were doing. And what I noticed was everybody was doing something one-handed. Because everybody had a cell phone in the one hand, and it was either up to their ear, they were eating with the other hand, or they were holding stuff, and they had to have the phone on their shoulder, sandwiched between their ear, their cheek, and their shoulder. Yep. And he recognized in that moment that, yes, cell phone technology is a great leap as far as conveniences go, but there is further to go. We can't just stop. We can't just, be a civilization that are slaves to this phone in our hand. So that's when he came up with this idea that, what if you could wear your phone? What if you could wear your computer? What if you wouldn't have to lug around a tablet or a laptop? And you can just wear these sunglasses or these style of glasses, and everything that you would see on a computer, you can see inside your glasses. Mm-hmm. Amazing. I mean, that's revolutionary thinking.
And it's like once that gets to the point where it's in your contact, which is something that they're already developing in Google Labs, is turning that into just a contact.
Where you can just pop it in your eye.
Yeah, you're going to have recordings of everything you've done. And if you think about how intrusive that is, that means that a girl that you hook up with may have these things in there, and all of a sudden that video is on YouTube. Or not YouTube, but it can be on any porn site the very next day.
Yeah.
And it will happen. It's going to get completely out of control.
He was also asked by one reporter, is this, in trying to imagine what this is this similar to what you may have seen in the Terminator or the way that the Predator looks in the movie Predator? And if you know what I'm thinking about or talking about, in Terminator, whenever you see from the perspective of the Terminator, it's like his eyes are a computer. It's like all the information is right there and all that.
Heads-up display, yeah.
And you know what his response to that was?
What's that?
Kinda, but way cooler.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, they've already basically talked about the fact that they're going to give it over to developers first, which means that you can do whatever you want. Like I program with Android.
Yeah, for $1,500.
Yeah.
They're going to here's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They are offering a limited edition of these glasses for $1,500. And they're going to sell them specifically to programmers and data creators and all that kind of stuff in the hopes that they will then build this network or build this thing.
And build just different programs. So, for instance, if one of the things that I'm excited about, because I never remember names, is people will be tagged that you come up to.
That's so great.
Yeah, so when you're walking around, you pop up with your Facebook profile, some information about you on there, and you have no idea that I'm going through that information.
Now we're killing jobs. We've killed the entire industry who makes the "Hello, my name is" sticker.
Right.
No need for a hello on my. You walk into a cocktail party and you've got, let's say it's 20 years from now and you've got the contact lens in. Mm-hmm. You walk into a cocktail party of people you work with, people you network with. You will know everything about everyone that you see. Mm-hmm. I will look at you and it will say, brr, brr, Jimmy Ryan does this, does that, favorite color, all of that shit, wife's name, kid's name. That is insane.
But then think about how these things
are way cool.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, though, is that as cool as it is, throw your privacy out the window. It doesn't mean anything anymore. I mean, your porn stars are not going to be able to get paid as much in this new world because there's going to be so much content on the internet that there's really no need for them.
So if you have sex with a girl while wearing one of these contact lenses and she doesn't know it, you've got a recording of the entire sexual.
If you and I've recommended this a couple times. It's called Black Mirror, and I can't recommend it enough. I think it's the second episode where it talks about, it basically follows somebody in this world where that's what everybody has, and they call it review. And you can watch somebody else's review, and it shows you all the different things that are going to drive us absolutely insane about being able to recall things that we've already seen.
So theoretically, there will come a time when a child will maybe have this at 5 years old, mm-hmm. and you could then take that child to his 90th birthday, and he could literally watch his entire life.
Yeah. He could watch the entire thing.
He can sit there and he can watch his 5th birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, I guess you can do that now with DVDs, but this is a lot more cool.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where it happens as you aren't even thinking about it. So, in this show that I was talking about, Black Mirror, basically what happens is this guy it starts out in an interview setting where he's being interviewed. And then he immediately goes to the cab, and he's not sure exactly how it went. on the cab, they got little display units that he's able to pop it on there, rewind, look at it all over again. Think about how hardcore you're going to be looking at each person's like reactions as you say things during an interview, over and over and over again.
Yeah.
What did that mean? What did that mean? What was she writing right there? What was she thinking? Why did she roll her eyes? Why did that guy say something? Why did he close it out early? It will drive you insane because you're able to actually go through all this over and over and over again. I mean, like, it already drives you crazy when you have to think about things
right
over and over. But when you actually got it right there and like some of this stuff is actually being fed back to you, like, damn, she really didn't care for that, or man, it'll drive you insane.
Yeah. All right, let's do one more thing. As I said, I got to get out of here. I'm sorry, folks. I've got some issues going on. I got to take care of them. I want to keep doing the show. I will be here to do the show. I promise. I just got to do this early today. All right, here's a big deal. This is a big Hollywood deal, Jimmy. We're going to spend a little time on this one. Mm-hmm. It's over. It's over. It's done. Forget about it.
Barack Obama.
No.
They've split.
No. If these two crazy kids can't make it in this wild, wacky world, then what hope is there for a couple of young dudes like us, huh?
A couple crazy Scientologists.
If
they can't make it happen.
Scientology. I thought those people didn't get divorced. Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes are getting divorced. After 5 years of marriage, Katie's attorney, Jonathan Wolf, released a statement today saying, "This is a personal and private matter for Katie and her family." Wolf adds, Katie's primary concern remains, as it always has been, her daughter's best interest. And let me tell you about little Suri Cruise. That is the cutest little girl I have ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean,
she really is.
How could it not be, though? Tom Cruise is dad, and Katie Holmes is the mom. She is such an adorable little girl. She's going to be a spectacularly beautiful woman, I bet.
Yeah, 3 dads now.
What's that?
She'll finally have 3 dads.
3 dads?
Yeah.
What do you... Are you suggesting that Tom isn't the biological father?
No, I'm saying that Tom will be around and Tom's boyfriend and Katie's new boyfriend.
Oh. Hey, you think John Travolta sues? You better watch yourself there. Tom and Katie have 1 child together, Suri, who's 6 years old. 49-year-old Tom has 2 children from his previous marriage to Nicole Kidman. He was also married to actress Mimi Rogers from 87 to 90. Cruise and 33-year-old Holmes were married in November of 2006 in a lavish ceremony held at an Italian castle. The split was first reported by People.com. Tom has been spotted in Iceland this week, where he's been shooting a new movie called Oblivion. Iceland. You ever been?
No.
Simply must go. Katie and Suri have been spotted in New York City all week. Katie was still wearing her wedding ring, however. All right. God, she really... Katie, the only problem that I have with her is the whole Scientology thing.
See, I don't even have a problem with that. I like that she just seems like just like an easygoing person. You know what I mean? Like, even like I used to love her, like in Dawson's Creek, and even then she just kind of seemed like if she kind of dug you, she'd be into whatever you were into, even if it was crazy Scientology.
Yeah.
You know, like she'll go down that road with you, which I appreciate.
Imagine how demonstrative he was towards her. You know he was, right?
I know.
Katie, no! I mean, you know he treated her like his teenage daughter.
Yeah.
Hey, here's an interesting hypothetical. This comes courtesy of TMZ. Mm-hmm. They're asking people to vote on this. Let me ask you. Here's the question: who would you let in your limo? Okay, you get a limo. You got 1 seat left. You get to let somebody in. Katy Perry. Got to tell you, she's a top contender for me right now.
Oh yeah.
Justin Bieber.
Okay.
Robert Pattinson. Do you know who he is?
Yep.
Twilight douche.
Mm-hmm.
And Charlie Sheen. Who do you let in your limo?
Justin Bieber is hopping in the limo with me.
Why is that?
Because every girl is going to be in the limo with us, like by the end of the night.
Yes. Okay, except they're going to be weird Justin Bieber girls in the limo, and no one is going to be of any interest to them other than Justin Bieber. It's just going to be a mess, and they're going to be young, and you're going to be checking IDs.
So Robert Pattinson. I'll
Plus,
go that route.
just imagine the music you're going to have to listen to in the limo. Just imagine, because Biebs is going to call the shots when it comes to what music is playing. I don't want Bieber.
I'm going with one or the other. Robert Pattinson, maybe a little bit older.
Robert Pattinson, you could surf his wake.
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson's also going to bring a lot of chicks, but he's a Twilight douche, so he's out for me too. Katy Perry's at the top of my list because I just love Katy Perry.
Yeah.
Her and Russell Brand breaking up just really sad because they both seemed like such good people, And even when you watch the details of their divorce, they were good people in divorce too. They didn't want to make it all crazy. But here's the deal. Katy Perry is probably also going to bring like 10 gay dudes with her because she goes everywhere with like a team of gay dudes. And Katy Perry doesn't want anything to do with me. I don't have a shot with Katy Perry. She's going to take over. We're going to go to bad clubs, you know?
Yeah.
She's going to want to go to places. Every place we walk into, I'm going to be the last guy in the line. And so the doorman is always going to stop me. And then I'm going to have to pray that somebody ahead of me turns and goes, no, he's with us. You know, I got to pray for that. Otherwise,
Right.
I'm waiting outside and sitting in a limo all by myself. There's trouble. There's trouble with Katy Perry. Charlie Sheen wants to get in my limo. We're going limo riding. Because let me tell you something. He gonna get the bitches. They're gonna be there. Even if he's paying for them. It doesn't matter. They're gonna be there. And there's gonna be a shot for everybody with these chicks. Because like I said, Charlie's probably gonna pay for them. Charlie's gonna bring all kinds of drugs for him. Even if he's not doing them anymore. You know, the porn star chicks, they love the drugs. So that'll be going on. And you're going to go to someplace fun. And when I say someplace fun, you know where we're going to go?
Where's that?
We're just going to go to Charlie's mansion and just tear it up. Just tear it up all night long. Yeah. Have you seen that new...
I like that in this scenario, you've picked up Charlie Sheen in a limo to bring him back to his house.
Well, really what the question here is, it's who would you let in your limo? The real question is, who do you want to party with?
Yeah. No,
Charlie Sheen. I want to party with Charlie Sheen. All these other ones seem lame.
Yeah, I don't know. After that last go round with Charlie Sheen, I think I'm over partying with Charlie Sheen.
Have you seen really?
Yeah.
Have you seen the new commercial for Fiat? Or is it Fiat or the new Italian car? They're promoting the Ibarth car.
Yeah.
Where there's just this mansion party going on, and it's insane, and everything's going crazy. And then there's this giant staircase and this beautiful marble floor, and then you see this little Fiat Ibarth just like do a donut right there in the middle of the foyer of this big mansion. Car opens up. First you see a foot with an ankle bracelet on it, and then Charlie Sheen gets out, and he goes, home confinement isn't as bad as you think. And then that Ibarth model, who's in all the Ibarth commercial, walks up and gives him a kiss. That party I want to be at, where Charlie Sheen is driving a Fiat in his living room. Yeah. I want to be at that party.
That is. Yeah, I'm definitely not saying that I would turn down a party with Charlie Sheen.
And you know what else about Charlie Sheen? When Charlie Sheen isn't winning, and going crazy and acting foolish because he did something foolish and he just compounded the problem by just trying to get his point across when really he should have just gone, screwed up. I'm sorry, I'm going to go away for a little bit. He didn't do that. Instead, he just made a bigger and bigger clown of himself.
The worst was I went to the actual show here locally.
Yeah, that whole thing. You don't want that Charlie Sheen. This dialed down Charlie Sheen seems pretty palatable.
I can do toned down Charlie Sheen.
Toned down?
Yeah, I can't do that Charlie Sheen that I saw that night and like just a mess.
I want him to call me brah and stuff. You know, I want like him to like me.
Yeah.
For like some totally unknown reason. Like he's over on the other end of the party at a table. Maybe they're playing quarters with a bunch of people. And then just out of nowhere, he's like, hey, brah, Pugs, come on over here. You guys got to meet this guy. He's like, I want Charlie Sheen to be my friend.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he seems like he'd be pretty cool toned down.
As long as he's not doing the machine stuff, you know? That was his nickname. You know his nickname was The Machine?
The Machine?
Charlie the Machine.
Wow.
Because his friends said that he did drugs like a machine.
I believe it, man. I really do. That's one thing that I can give Charlie Sheen.
And when he partied, when he was in party mode, that's what they called him. They didn't call him Charlie Sheen. They called him The Machine. The Machine's out tonight. Oh, crap.
That's scary. That's an intimidating.
Hide your women.
Yeah.
The Machine's in the club. I mean, like his stories of partying rival the most ridiculous stories of rock star debauchery you've ever heard.
Yeah.
And above it all, he seems like a pretty cool dude.
Yeah. No, I think that you've actually talked me into this now.
All right, so in the limo comes Charlie Sheen. Get the hell out of here, Robert Pattinson. Get the hell out of here, Bieber.
I still think that we should put them in the car behind us, just in case Charlie goes off the deep end. We got like.
Well, Charlie's gonna want Katy Perry in there.
Yeah.
Charlie's gonna try and corrupt her, because her parents are both preachers.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that about her?
Yeah.
She started out as a Christian singer and all. So Charlie, that's the kind of meat that tastes extra special to a guy like Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, I agree.
Christian, good girl meat.
Yeah. I remember her interviews with Howard Stern. like way early on. Like
Katy Perry?
Yeah, she did a great interview with him.
Yeah,
made me fall in love with her.
She's great. Yeah. And you know, I never really. Do you know what made me fall in love with her? She did an episode of Sesame Street a couple months ago. I was watching Sesame Street with my kid, and she came out and she did this song with Elmo. Oh my God, she is the most delightful. She was so sweet and it was just so great and really, really pretty. I mean, really pretty.
Yeah.
She actually kind of looks like that Zooey Deschanel if Zooey Deschanel was really pretty and had a massive rack.
Zooey Deschanel is very pretty.
She's not Katy Perry pretty. They look very similar.
Yeah.
They could be sisters. But if they were sisters, Katy Perry would be the prettier one. Because Katy Perry's got massive boobs.
Yeah. I would.
And a real thin belly. And
Yeah. I go for the geeky thing, though, so for some reason.
So throw some glasses on Katy Perry. I'm telling you, Katy Perry can be pretty geeky. She can probably be really, really geeky.
I think you're right.
All right, that's going to do it for today, folks. I'm sorry we had a shortened show, but I got a bunch of things I got to tend to. We'll be back next week with a full slate of shows. Jimmy Ryan, anything going on? Anything you want to promote?
No. Well, Really Bad Radio with Brad LaCour and Matt Rayford. That's going to be coming up on Monday.
Okay.
So, yeah, I guess we're going to be doing a show most likely Monday. Are we going to be doing a show on Monday?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe we'll talk about it over the weekend.
Okay.
Okay. And also, yeah, that's it. I got nothing else. Never mind. All right. For Jimmy Ryan, Pugs Moran, it's PMS on thebarlive.com.